I'm Kelly.
And I'm Erica.
And we are moms and ministry leaders still learning to disciple not only the kids in our own homes, but the kids in our ministries.
So we're having conversations with innovative leaders who are fostering a strong relationship between church and home.
With practical and tactical next steps for partnering well and living out our faith.
This is the Nurturing Faith Collective Podcast.
Hello, welcome to the Nurturing Faith Collective Podcast. This is Season 2, Episode 3, and I'm Kelly.
And I'm Erica.
And we're here to have real conversations about children and faith. And Erica, we're going to start off today with something that you have for us. What do you have?
Yes, our nurturing nugget for this episode is a book called Theology. It's a kid's first systematic theology book, which is fantastic. This is a great book to be able to use if you need to pull a devotion for a group of kids. If you have a kid asking hard questions about sin or any of those things. So the book is divided and it's told from a fictional standpoint at the beginning, right? Like it's these kids finding this book about theology. And so then they read about different things. So it follows Carla and Timothy as they explore some of these ideas. But then you've got theology of God. And so it talks all about some of these topics that we just have a hard time explaining to kids, right? As parents, as children's ministry leaders, as faith influencers. These are just great ways to have those practical conversations with kids about sticky topics. So check out Theology by Marty Makowski. And it has a little tagline on the front that says, "Ancient Truths Ever New." But it is a great thing. It's published by New Growth Press. So Theology is our nurturing nugget of this episode.
That's fantastic. Systematic theology for children. Amazing.
Yes. Which is about where my brain tapped out with it in seminary.
Right?
Okay.
Moving on.
Yes.
So our finding faith for this episode, I'm going to share a moment that I had. And I received a question from a parent who was very worried about a neighbor child who had questions about heaven and hell. And she was very, very anxious that she was going to go to hell. And this child is 7. So the parents are not in the faith. They did not know how to answer these questions. They have never read the Bible. It was a very sticky situation. So she contacted me and said, how do I do this? I want to make sure that I am saying the right things, but, also giving her the truth and not sugarcoating it because she's a child, but also not scaring her.
Right.
So this was, one of these moments. This is what I'm ready for. So we just had a conversation, and it was so wonderful to just be able to share with someone how to take that moment of question and that moment of anxiety of, I know I'm a sinner and I'm going to hell. What do I do? How do I fix this?
Right.
Essentially. So teaching her how to have that conversation with that child was such a wonderful highlight of my day. And so, not only is she going to speak to the child, but she's also going to speak to the parents who we will hopefully be able to get them into church for the first time. But what I had said to her was to not make it doom and gloom. We got to focus on the good, that God sent us Jesus for this exact reason, and that God is love and he wants us to be with him. He does not want us to be separated by sin. And I told her, yes, tell her we sin. We all sin. We all fall short. However, the good news is we have Jesus, and all you have to do is give him your heart. And once you do that, everything just you change. Everything changes. Will you continue to sin? Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
have the hope. We have the hope of Jesus. And so I'm waiting
I
to
love
hear
that.
back. Yeah. I'm waiting to hear back and see how it went. So, not only that just gave me a moment of not only do I get to teach children, we get to, in
We get to partner
essence,
with parents.
partner with parents and get
That's
to
right.
do this because they are also, out in the world. And let's give them their nuggets of how they can
Yes.
teach not only their own children, but those that are around them. So that was
Yes.
amazing.
I love that because it's so. Sometimes we try to cultivate these really big theological conversations with our kids and we get nowhere, right? Like they're going to
Right.
be like, so anyway, boogers. But sometimes these real questions emerge that we have the opportunity to dive into, and it's recapturing. Like I think this question specifically, I remember being terrified
Mm-hmm.
because I grew up in the left behind generation, right? Like I was terrified of the second coming of Jesus. But when we get to focus on the good of that and the beauty that will be the new kingdom, and what do you have to do? You have to make Jesus in charge of your life. Like
Yeah.
it's that step. No matter what denomination we come from, no matter what our path to salvation is, from the different ways we talk about it, the importance is we are making Jesus in charge of our life and we're going to follow him. So we don't have to worry about, is hellfire and brimstone? Is it just a part away from God? What does that look like? We don't have to dive there with kids. We focus on what does the good look like when we make
Yeah.
Jesus in charge of our
Yeah.
life. And that's so important. I love that. That was a great moment.
It was a wonderful moment.
Okay. I have a collecting chuckle. Are you
Okay.
ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. This comes from Alana, who gave us a story for last time, but this is just a fantastic story here. So she was teaching a group of K through second graders a lesson from Habakkuk. And one of the questions was, tell me about a time where you felt scared or uncertain about how you could still trust God during that time. Pretty deep question. Okay. I had a child proceed to launch into a tirade about how he gets really scared and upset when his parents lock their bedroom door at night and won't let him come in. The same child on that same night asked me if I liked his trap house that he drew. Thank goodness. Context. Thank goodness it was a house he'd drawn with a bunch of traps in it to keep robbers out. So there's levels here. There's levels, right? One, how can I trust God when my parents don't want me around? That's a fair question, but bless it, sometimes mom and dad just need 5 minutes. 5 minutes. And then Trap House. I love that he
It's full
probably
of
watched
traps.
Home Alone. Yeah, let's be real. He watched Home Alone and he drew this dream house of how he could keep robbers out. What that kid is a future safety team leader, my friend. That's what that kid is.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Let's talk about how to... But hey, you feel scared and alone? You make a trap so a robber can't get in and you talk to God about it. I think that's fair.
Well, and that's another thing is, there is a lesson in that. It is a chuckle, but there's a lesson that,
Yeah,
you trust God in everything.
that's
But I
right.
mean, as you said, he's a future safety team member. So he's got to make sure that, God has a little bit of help there with these traps.
That's right. My trap house. You never, like, kids say stuff with the complete and utter innocence that they have,
Yes.
right? And we hear it with our adult ears and we're like, wait, what are you doing?
And that is why we need to have sometimes the innocence of a child.
Yes.
And this is why I love working with children, because
Yes.
you get these funny moments, but then you also get the time of, I need to take a step back and look through this through children's eyes.
That's right.
They don't know what a trap house is.
No. It's the beauty of The faith of a child, the innocence of a child, and just
Absolutely.
how they see the world. It's beautiful.
It is
Even if
beautiful.
they're creating traps for robbers. I
And their
love it.
parents lock them out of the room.
I mean, sometimes we need 5 minutes. Parents, it is okay.
It is 100% okay.
It is okay.
You cannot pour from an empty cup.
That's right. Alana's other story ties along with that. You know, kids say the darndest things, and kids always say what their parents don't want them to say.
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
I had a child come in late one day, and she said, "I'm sorry I'm late. My mom was pooping, and it took forever."
They're 100% honest.
You never have to wonder if a kid is being straight with you in those situations.
And it's just,
they're going to sell you out in a second.
Of course. And it's just like those, I don't know, I'm sure most children's ministry leaders have seen the meme that said, no family secrets are safe.
Prayer request time.
Prayer request time. We know all of your secrets. We know everything.
And you know what? That's okay. We keep your secrets. I had a teacher once tell me at my kid's school that she asked the same of me that she gives. She only believes 50% of what the kids tell her. And I'm like, yeah, that's fair. We can have that understanding, right? Because you never know the perspective of a kid. My mom wouldn't let me do my homework. No. Hold on. That's not what happened. Oh, I love it. Collecting chuckles from kids. It's great.
It is wonderful. I love that we've gotten responses with that. So if you do have one you'd like to share, just email it to us at podcast@nurturingfaithcollective.com, and we will be happy to share it on the podcast, as we all love a very good chuckle.
It's good for the heart.
Good for the heart, chuckles. Good for the soul. That is right. So Erica, we are going to have an interview today, and why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes. So today we are interviewing a fellow Nurturing Faith Collective leadership member. Tina Wallace has developed some amazing resources about grandparenting and how to partner with grandparents well.
Awesome.
We're so intentional at Nurturing Faith Collective. We're not just for children's pastors. We are for parents and faith influencers. And grandparents are a very vital part of all of that. So I'm excited to hear from Tina and talk more about that today.
That's exciting. Let's do it. The Nurturing Faith Collective is more than just a podcast.
It's a place to go for articles, resources, curriculum, coaching, and more.
The Nurturing Faith Collective is committed to fostering a strong partnership between the church and the home in the child discipleship.
Our mission is to empower ministry leaders, parents, and faith influencers in both English and Spanish-speaking contexts with the knowledge and tools they need to nurture children's discipleship.
Find out more at nurturingfaithcollective.com.
All right, Nurturing Collective family, I am here with Tina Wallace. She is a team member of the Nurturing Faith Collective leadership team. She is over coaching. She is a teacher with LifeWise Academy, and she runs an after-school program with a Christian school in the Twin Cities, so home of Bethel Seminary, our alma mater. She was a children's, youth, and family pastor for 12 years. And Tina, you have 3 kids and 11 grandkids, plus one on the way. So with
Correct.
all of these things, you are busy.
Yeah. Yes, I am. Yes, I'm very blessed.
And I'm so glad we are blessed that you took this opportunity to talk to us. Now, you were on the podcast first season explaining coaching with the Nurturing Faith Collective, but for some of our listeners who are new, tell us just a little bit about what you do with the coaching initiative of Nurturing Faith.
Tanya and I co-lead the coaching initiative. So we've spent the last year kind of just setting up, just the foundation of our coaching program, who needs it and who would benefit from it, and kind of setting up coaching sessions, questions to ask coaches that can kind of get a better sense of where parents or ministry leaders, because we can coach both, what kind of questions that we can ask them to kind of help encourage them and support them and on their journey of being faith influencers, both in the church and the home.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. And
Mhm.
I know as a parent, I've needed coaching multiple times. Is that something you only do physically in the Twin Cities, or can you meet with anybody anywhere over Zoom or a different platform?
Anywhere. We can Zoom, Google Meets, lots of opportunities to do that. Yeah. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is
Mhm.
awesome.
Mhm.
If someone were interested in coaching, where would we find that application to get connected?
Go to our website, the Nurturing Faith Collective, and you'd want to click on coaching. There's all kinds of information there. You can click just to get more information, but if you're ready to pull the trigger and you want to do it, there is a form you can click and sign up there. Yeah. And you can also get information about Tanya and I to see which might be a better fit, for you. So,
Awesome.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay, so we talked for a second. You have 11 grandkids, another on the way, so 12 grandkids.
Yep.
Obviously, I think this is a passion of yours because you also, not only are you coaching and teaching and running an after school program, but you also wrote this awesome resource that's on the Nurturing Faith Collective resource page. So tell us just a little bit about this resource.
Okay. Well, I became a grandma a little over 10 years ago, and I knew that I was so excited, but I also wanted to have be very active in my grandkids' lives, and not just be a fun grandma, but also, to have an impact, an influence on them, and it looks different than a parent because you don't live with them, right? And so it took some time to figure out what that would look like. And we've done a couple different things over the years, with Christmas, Advent and preparing for Easter and, different things we've tried. And then it actually came from CPC, Children's Pastors Conference last year.
Okay.
It just kind of looking at the resource tables, and I just felt like, what's my role now? And I came home with lots of ideas, and I thought, I said to my husband, I really feel like our role now is to come alongside them and do stuff with them. But to maybe do it like serving. Like, what about if we did a regular rotation of like doing service projects together? They're fun, but also we can have great conversations, and we're teaching them how to be the hands and feet, of Jesus, and do some kingdom work together and pray with them and help them to just have eyes, to see people. And so we just kind of unpacked that, and we were like, let's do that. Let's do this on a quarterly basis. Let's mix it up. What we do, what's the right age limit. So we've been doing that for about a little over a year now. And it's been a lot of fun, created some really great memories. And so when we were encouraged as, the leadership team to create some resources, I was like, well, this is kind of a no-brainer, and it's something different that's not out there. And it's something we're already doing. And so I thought other grandparents could benefit from it.
Yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little more. We know from different studies, Sticky Faith, Gallup has done a couple of research studies, Barna, that serving gets kids deeper in their faith. Like it naturally sticks with them more. So what kind of things have you done with your grandkids? Do your kids come along too? Is it just you and your grandkids? What does that look like for some of the things that you've done?
It's just Grandpa and I and the kids, and they're 5 and up, because we kind of felt like beyond, younger than that, they're just not going to take it seriously and really understand what we're doing. Right.
Right.
So our very first one, we have a local food packing organization here in the Twin Cities, and their requirement is 5 years and up. And so any grandkids that are 5 years and up, and we've got 2 that are turning 5 this year. And so they're excited they now get to be a part of this. Yeah. And so we go and we put the hairnets on, and we do the rice, the protein, and it's fun. There's music. So there's that. And then we have packed meals. There's an organization called Lasagna Love. It's kind of a meal train for everybody, right? It's not just, your church or your family group or friend group. It's kind of just open to anybody.
Okay.
And so we've signed up for that. And then we just, from a home, we just we create meals and we pray over them and we talk about the people that we're serving, and then we go deliver them together. We've done yard work for an elderly lady that couldn't get out and do her own yard work. And so we spent a day pulling weeds and cutting her grass. And
You have my wheels turning, because I think, I have 2 boys. They love making memories with their grandparents, and it's things that I wouldn't even think of, right? They don't have to. We went to Disney with them, and of course that sticks with them. But then when they go dig in the garden with Gigi, or they go out and pull weeds with Papa, and so even taking those same moments, but also plugging them into serving others and getting people outside yourself. I love what you've created here. This is fantastic. So let's say you have a children's pastor who's looking at these resources, and they're like, how would I put this into practice and get this resource in the hands of my grandparents? What do you think they could do to get this out there? Would they send it out to grandparents? Do you think this is a resource that they host big group events with grandparents? What does that look like for them?
They for sure could, because I don't think every grandparent is going to take the initiative on their own. So when I was in full-time ministry, we did a family ministry. And so we would create opportunities like this for families, right? And so they didn't have to think about it, right? They didn't have to plan it, just show up. Friday night, we're going to have a service project for you to do, right? That was one of the 4 things that we would do. That's a teaser for my next resource.
Ooh.
But we would just show up and we would do things like this together, mom and dad, son and daughter, all the families together. So we just kind of took that and did it with our grandkids. So churches could absolutely do this. Like, grandmas and grandpas, come with your grandkids. We've provided the make sandwiches for the homeless, or the stuff, do it together and then go home. But it could, hopefully it would trigger well, we could do this on our own, right? It's not that hard, but yeah.
Oh, I love this. So this is something that people can download, right, for free from the nurturingfaithcollective.com on the resources tab.
Yep.
Let's break away for a second. I want to pick your brain.
Yeah.
Looking at this generation of children, grandchildren, and grandparents, what do you think is the biggest thing hindering grandparents from taking a primary role in assisting their kids build these relationships of faith with Jesus in their grandkids? What do you think is the thing that some grandparents struggle to take that step?
Fear of stepping on toes, maybe,
Yeah.
Just not sure what's acceptable to mom and dad.
Yeah.
And I would just encourage them to ask, is this okay if we do this? Is this okay? If prayer is a part of it, is it okay? So it just creates open conversations with your adult children too, right? So you can have you're nurturing their faith, right, as well, in the process, so
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest.
Yeah, I think it's hard to be a parent, and I can't, as my kids have gotten older and you take more of a back seat and you let them own their faith and do all that, I have also walked that line of, I see a lot of my friends in my generation building really, I would say, strong lines of, we don't want our parents involved as much as others have in the past. Yeah. And while I understand the need for family, I also see the need for legacy, right? Stories build connection builds faith. And so we see that through Deuteronomy. Grandparents were an active part of the faith development of kids. Sure. And so as a mom, I want my kids to hear from their grandparents and get the faith from them. While also, I still need my mom and I need my dad to speak into me and help me in these moments of, parenthood is hard. What do I do? So trying to find ways to build relationship in that for both parents and grandparents that benefit the grandchildren and faith is so important. So I love that your heart is so invested in that, and that you've taken the reins on that.
Yeah, we just wanted to find some way that we could, just open the door for faith conversations, right? Because we're not the ones taking them to church on Sunday. We're not the ones sitting at the dinner table, right? But this is it's a fun thing to look forward to. And it carves, we carve out a couple hours on a Saturday or something, and then it gives mom and dad some time too, right? But yeah. So
I love that you said the younger grandkids are looking forward to the day they get to go. Like, that's such a, I remember having those milestones as a kid, right? And for my kids, they go on a Father's Day camping trip with their dad and grandpa's. And I remember 5-year-old was our line. And so this year, my youngest gets to go fully camping. It's just that buildup of, oh, when I'm this age, and the family legacy is so important. I love that.
Yep. Yeah. Yep.
So what is one encouragement I'm going to ask you to encourage 2 groups of people.
Okay.
One, for children's pastors to help engage the grandparents in their congregation. And 2, to the grandparents who are either struggling with a lack of relationship with their grandkids, or who could take one step further in that relationship. What piece of encouragement or advice would you have for those 2 groups?
For the ministry leaders, I think grandparents really want, I mean, every grandparent that I know of really wants relationships with their grandkids. And so create opportunities, whether it's serving or fun, but invite them in to do stuff together. Create opportunities for them to do stuff together. Yeah. They want to do it. Maybe meet them where they're at. Ask them, what would you come to, right? What kind of opportunities would you be open to coming to? And for grandparents, I would encourage them, just start the conversation with your adult kids, right?
Yeah.
Would this work? Could we do this? Yeah. I think, yeah.
Just be open to having the conversation.
Yeah. And even if they're not open to, like, if faith is not their thing and they don't want you to have, then you still have opportunities to have time together, right? And you can still serve without praying, right? You can still be like, it's still helping. It's still teaching them compassion and empathy and, right? All those Christian values, but you don't want to step over that line, right?
Right.
So,
right. And not in a manipulative way, but in a, if we show them Jesus, even if we don't speak his name, he has the power to come in and be there.
He can work through that. Yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, Tina, I am so excited for people to get a hold of this resource. And what is the title of it? So when they're scrolling down the line of resources on Nurturing Faith, what are they looking for?
It's called Grand Serving.
Grand Serving. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Well, Tina, thank you for taking the time for sharing this resource and your heart with us. And yes, so check Tina and Tanya out for coaching, and then check out these resources on nurturingfaithcollective.com. And we will see you next time on the Nurturing Faith Collective podcast.
Thanks, Erica.